Happy days are here again. The skies above are clear again. The Bears finally fired him. Happy days are here again. Yes! He did it! They did it! They did it! They did it! Yes, Bears! Well, welcome to Friday's show after the Bears' embarrassing loss. Another one. I had already written my show, but I was waiting. And then I saw that FLUS did a press conference this morning, and I thought, oh, God, they're not going to fire him. So I decided I'll go out for a while, do some errands, come back and see, and sure enough, I get a call from my son. They did it! Yes! So, I typed a show, really ripping on them and this and that. So I'm not going to do a lot of that, but we are going to talk about it because this is great. The Bears have never, ever fired a coach during the season. But if this wasn't the season to do it, I don't know what it is. And I've seen, since 1975, a lot of coaches and a lot of bad ones. And this guy, for sure, made the most boneheaded, stupid calls and non-decisions and all those things, and yesterday was the topper. Another game, third game in a row against one of our opponents that we coulda and shoulda won. And because he fucked up the time again and didn't use the timeout, he ends the game with a timeout in his pocket again. For that alone, he had to be fired. And then, you know what he said in his press conference today? He was explaining the bullshit and what his thought process with those last 36 seconds and everything. And he said, yeah, we were going to do this and do this and this and then run out the field goal team to win the game. No, it would have been a tie. The idiot didn't even know it was going to be a tie. Oh, my God. My 2.5-year-old grandson knew that. So, you know what? Who cares? They frickin' did it. And it was warranted because before the bye, the Bears were 4-2, and they were just starting to rock and roll, it seemed like. And then that Washington game happened. He cost us that game. Didn't call a timeout. And then, then we're playing the other games. And then with Minnesota, Green Bay, and Detroit, we were in every one of those games, and we should have won. And shoulda, woulda, coulda, I know, so we're 4-8, I know that, but it still looks bright, doesn't it? It looks bright because they did what they needed to do. Because number one, now they can start searching for a coach during the season. Because if you fire them during the season, you don't have to wait till after the Super Bowl. And so they've got that. And you knew they were going to fire him, so you might as well just do it. They did put Thomas Brown, the old coordinator, in charge of the team. 3 weeks ago, he was the passing coordinator. Then he became the OC, and now he's the head coach. Crazy. But they did it, and they had to do it because I turned on the news, like Good Morning America this morning, and they were talking about him. And everybody, I was reading all this stuff last night and this morning. Everybody was talking about how stupid he was in that game. And yesterday, he threw his players under the bus again. But today, he's like, oh, it's all on me. It's all on me. Too late, buddy. You should have said that after the Washington game. But you're too late, and go put your house for sale because you are out of here. So, I don't know. It's I do want to do a few shout outs real quick to 3 guys in Illinois that grew up with my son and are really good. I found out one of them for sure has been watching my show. Brian, thank you. And then Clint and Nathan didn't know I had a show. What's up with that? And now they're watching. So welcome, you 3. I'm really glad you're here, and welcome to the show. So what a great day. Thanksgiving was rough. So let's do a few things real quick because I do want to do a few stats, and then we'll talk more. I know people probably don't even care about this, but I wrote my show. I got to at least do some of the stuff, right? So, but I'm a lot happier than I was going to be when I came on because I was ready. I was going to blow a freaking gasket. I still want to, but there's no point. he's gone. So my threes, time of possession, turnovers, and penalties. You know I always say those are important. Bears lost time of possession. Terrible. It was 24 minutes and change to 35 minutes and change for the Lions. That's bad. And the reason it was is because the Lions were gashing the Bears defense on the rush. I mean, that's why the time of possession was so different. The Bears did have one turnover. They forced a fumble. But they had 8 penalties. 8. And you know my rule, 1 or less. So they really lost all 3 of my threes, and that's what I say. You lose those, you're not going to win the game, and they didn't. And we had 8 penalties, and the Lions had 6. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the penalties, but not as much now because, But the total team stats, the Bears had 301 yards to the Lions 405. And again, that's because of the rush, you'll hear. The Bears passed for 223 yards. We beat them. They passed for 211 yards. The second half, we really kept them in check, which we'll talk about. Then the Bears, again, could not break 100 yards rushing. They only had 78. Terrible. You cannot win a game unless you can get that run game going. And I do know that I did not know because the announcers did not say it, although I will say this. I was at my daughter-in-law's parents' house for the game and for dinner, and it's really hard to be concentrating on a game when there's a lot of people talking, a lot going on. I'm trying to take notes and this and that, so I could have missed this, but I was like, where the hell is Johnson? Why is he not running? Why is it only Swift? And it turns out he went out in the first half with a concussion. Didn't know it. I don't think they said it. If they did, I didn't hear it, so makes more sense. But 78 yards. Terrible. Lions had 194 yards rushing. You're not going to win a game when you let a offense gash you for 194 yards. And that was the big difference in this game, besides the stupid mistakes and penalties on the Bears. But again, yards per play, the Bears were 5.1. And the Lions were 5.9. So we were right there, except for the run. We were right there with them the whole game. Williams came back the second half. Let's face it, the Bears only played one half again, which has happened a lot this year. Williams was 20 for 39, 256 yards, and 3 touchdown passes. Right on, Cabe, right on. And Goff was 21 for 34, 221 yards with 2 touchdowns. Swift had 39 yards rushing, and Williams had 39 yards rushing. That's terrible. 39. Now, I know they were playing from behind the entire game, but good teams will continue to rush the ball to keep the defense honest. And I feel the Bears should have done that more, but whatever. And between Lions, between their running backs, their 2 running backs together, they had 175 yards rushing, Montgomery and Gibbs. Moore was our lead receiver with 97 yards and 1 touchdown. I will say about Moore, though, there was a pass, and I have it written down somewhere, but I'm going to talk about it. But I forgot if that was the third quarter. We'll talk about that. But he didn't catch the ball, and had he caught that ball, it probably would have been a touchdown because there was no Lions in front of him. He could have gone right down the field. If not a touchdown, very close. Unfortunately, he didn't make the catch, and that was on him. Allen came in with another solid day, 73 yards, 2 touchdowns. Swift, 35 yards receiving. Clement, 35 yards receiving. And Rome, 25. And Clement, you know what? I wish they would throw to him more, but he had 2 bad penalties in this game yesterday. And we're going to go into that. And so the defense had 2 sacks, and the Lions had 5 sacks. We know that. And the sacks were Dexter. He had a sack. And then Sandberg, Bourne, and the rookie Booker had a sack together. So they had both got credit with a half a sack. And then number 29, Stevenson, forced a fumble, and Dexter recovered it. So that was good. Because I got to say, he did well, Stevenson, with that fumble, but he did not have a great game. He missed some tackles that he should have had, and there was one play where he was playing so far off. I'm like, Is that what FLUS told you to do? Or are you doing it? And they gave them an easy, like 15 yards. The Bears have got to stop doing it. They gotta press these receivers more, and they're not doing it. And I'm sure that's on the D coach, which was FLUS. We have a D coordinator, but FLUS made the plays on defense. So now that's going to change. So it should be interesting to see how much the Bears, excuse me, you know what? I forgot to turn on my timer. I have to have a timer because I talk so much. The Bears, oh God, no, I lost my thought. Defense. So now the Bears, the last few games have been playing off a lot because that prevent defense, and because they don't want them to get big plays. But you got to get a little closer. You got to press those wide receivers. You can't keep giving them 15, 20 yards, chunks. And I know the Bears are kind of a bend, don't break, because they get down to the goal line, and they're one of the better defenses on goal lines. I get that, but you got to start pressing them more. So we'll talk about that in a minute, but the penalties just killed the Bears. Killed them again, 8 of them. And that starts on the top. So let's see if that discipline changes with some of these players. The Bears in the first quarter, it was their third series of the game, and they went from first, 10, blah, 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 to third and 14, punt. Then the defense in the first quarter gave the Lions a free, F-R-E-E. I'm so excited, I can't even talk. The Bears gave them a free 15 yards. They ended up getting a first down, and they just kept going, and they scored points. Then in the second quarter, right before the half, the offense was driving, first and 10, second and 13, third and 13, 4 and 3, and then penalty, punt. Then the defense, right before half, the Lions were driving. They were 4th and 1, and the Bears ended up giving them got a penalty on the defense, first down. But there's a good thing because at the end of just a couple plays later, we got that fumble and we got the ball back. But the penalty still gave them a first down. Third quarter, the defense stopped the Lions. They had stopped them, and it was going to be a punt. They gave them a first down on a penalty. They go down, score a touchdown. See the trends here, traces here. Then on that last drive, which the Bears were really pretty incredible to even do what they did. They had 2 penalties on that drive, and the last one was a killer because we got a penalty. So then it was, third and 20-something, 22, 23, and then Cabe gets sacked, and it's third and 26. And then we all know what happens. And Clement had 2 offensive pass interference in this game yesterday. And that is so unlike Clement. It really, really is. And I love this guy, but I really, really hope they start using him more. They're not. I think they're underusing him, but he did have those 2, and that's very unlike him. So lack of discipline. But the offense, we got to give them credit because it was 0-16 at half. The Bears looked terrible, and I was thinking this is going to be a blowout. It's going to be a blowout. This is going to be embarrassing because I kept saying, I was saying to my son and my friends and family, I just want the Bears to be in it. I know they're not going to win, but I want them to be in it so it's not so embarrassing. We were in it, and we should have tied it and won it. But because of that idiot FLUS who embarrassed the franchise enough to finally fire a coach during the season, because we are the laughing stock. We were the laughing stock after the Washington game. It's still in my craw. And now we're the laughing stock. When you hear what I heard from last night to today, I mean, I've never heard so many people who don't talk about the Bears talk about the Bears. So finally, but the offense started that last drive, with 2 minutes and change, and they were on their 1-yard line. And, wait a minute, were they? Yeah. They went all the way. They started out on their 1-yard line, and we went all the way down. And the Bears, okay, I'm getting off track here. My mind is like, you know what I mean? I mean, we're not going to win I feel like we've won the division because we fired our head coach, but we haven't. But, okay, let me slow down here first. So, first, let's say, before we talk about that last drive, I'm going to pump the brakes relax, look at your notes, and say what you want to say. So, but in that first half, the Bears were terrible. They didn't get a first down till 48 seconds left in the half. They were all three and outs, penalties, three and out, sack, three and out, and then they finally got their first down with 48 seconds left. Of course, we didn't score any points in the first half. Again, the Bears played only a half of a game, which has been a problem for the Bears with FLUS as our head coach. How many times have we seen they've only played 30 minutes and not 60? So the first half was terrible. So the Bears came back. Like I said, they had, and I mentioned, the three and outs, the sacks, the penalties in that first half were awful. We couldn't get the rush game going. Moore, it was, but then that drop that Moore had was in the fourth quarter where I told you if he would have caught that ball, he had a lot of free space in front of him. And who knows what would have happened, but it didn't happen. He dropped it. Okay, so like I said, the offense did impress me, and so does Cabe again, because you're down 16 points in the second half. You come back, and the Bears defense held them to only one touchdown in the second half. And this is a very, very good team. They were 10-1 and going in. And but they just gashed us with that rush, 194. Had we not had that, but the run game, people might forget, Andrew Billings went out several games ago, and he's that big body in the middle, and it's really showing how much we're missing Andrew Billings, who is out for the rest of the year. And not only does that show, it is showing week in, week out now how much we're missing Brisker in the backfield. I really do believe so. And I think that part of Stevenson's problem, because I don't feel Stevenson has progressed this season, like this is his second year, and we had high hopes for him. And with Brisker not being there, I think them playing together helped Stevenson be a better player. And so he's not had some good games. He did force that fumble. I'll give him that, but I don't like the progress we're seeing about this young man. So hopefully that'll change. But you're really seeing Andrew Billings and Brisker being out. It's really, really hurting this defense each week. But they held up in that second half, even though they were letting them run, but they held them to one touchdown, which allowed the Bears to stay in the game. Because let's face it, if the Bears defense kept giving up more and more runs, there's no way, there's no way the Bears offense was coming up. But once again, the Bears defense holds steady enough to allow their offense to come back, which they did. They came out. Williams was just great. He made some passes that were crazy yesterday when he was like this close to running out of bounds, and he threw that one pass. I don't know who it was to. Swift, I can't remember, but we got a first down, and I mean he was literally about this close to the to running out of bounds. But the only thing with Cabe, he's not turning the ball over. Very proud for him on that, but he's got to learn. Now there was 5 sacks. 2 of them I say for sure we're on Cabe. That last sack in the game, you know what? He didn't even really have a chance when it was 3rd and 22 or whatever, and then turned into 2nd and 22, and it turned into 3rd and 26. That sack. The offense. Well, we were already down. Our center 65 went out in the beginning of the third quarter, and he has played every snap, so he was no longer in the game, and they just, our offensive line isn't good. We know that. They're banged up. We're missing players. They're not that good anyway. So, but they just collapsed on that last one. So I'm not going to blame him, but there was 2 I will blame him for, and one actually pushed us out of field goal range, but he's still a rookie. But look what he did. He came back, and the Bears scored 20 points in the second half because of Cabe Williams. Because he, and then, that last drive, yesterday FLUS was saying, that, this and that. And then he was saying, he threw his players, I thought, under the bus. I'll say something. But, it was 36 seconds left, 3rd and 26. You got to call a timeout. to get your players in position, because to me it looked like Moore and Clement did not know what the play was. I would have called the timeout just for that. You've got a rookie quarterback in there. You're down 3 points. You can get closer to tie the game up. It's 3rd and 26, yes. 36 seconds left. Throw the ball to the sidelines, either one. Try at least. And then call the timeout and get your team out there, your field goal team out there. Call that timeout. He calls that timeout. Everybody know what we're going to do. This is the play. We're going to the sideline with bang, boom. Timeout. They run out of bounds. Okay, we're going to try to get closer for a field goal. But he doesn't do it again. How many times this season has he left timeouts in his pocket? They're to be used, FLUS. Okay? That's what they're for. And you know what? It was just ridiculous. And I'm going to tell you what he said, even though it doesn't really matter, but this is what he said. FLUS concluded the play, it didn't work out the way we wanted it to. Duh! He went on to explain that the Bears had planned a passing play over the middle of the field and then would call a timeout to secure the ball in field goal position. Okay. Instead, this team scrambled to get up, set up after Cabe Williams was sacked with 36 seconds left remaining. And by the time the pass to Rome bounced off his helmet, the game was over. And the Bears lost their 6th straight contest. Are you fucking kidding me? The coach said that he wanted the players and the coaches to do a better job together. You know, and now they're 4-8, and FLUS was 5-19 in his career with the Bears on 1-score games. I mean, what does that say? The Bears have been in so many this year. He has cost us these last 6 games. He cost us the Indy game. He cost us games last year. You know, the Bears should never even have kept him, but they did. And now they're paying the price. But now, you know, but so this offense, I got to give them credit. You start from the 1-yard line and you do make it to the 37 or 38, and then the wheels fall off because you have a coach that doesn't know how to manage a game with less than 2 minutes. We've seen it time and time again. But that's why he got fired, because of that. And he is gone. So now we have a new head coach, but still, there's problems with the Bears. They got too many penalties. You know, we're hurting on the offensive line, which isn't going to change. And the defense is giving up too many rush hours, and I don't think that's going to change either. You're missing Andrew Billings in the middle, and you need some more. It showed this year that we have to work on that defensive line some more in the offseason. We know we have to work on the defensive line. We know we need a couple more. I think we need another linebacker to complement Edwards more. And with Brisker now being out, we don't know what's going to happen. We need to fill one of those spots too. And then, of course, and foremost, the offensive line. But none of that's going to change until the season's over, until free agency starts, and then the draft. So there's nothing we can do about it. We're stuck with the team we got, but we have a quarterback, people. There's no doubt about it. And now FLUS is gone, and he can stop fucking with this kid's head. And we can see, let's see. And you know, when he got fired, the players, I say he lost them after the Washington game. And of course, the players have to play. They're professional. They're getting paid a lot of money. But on the defensive side of the ball, I felt he really lost the defense after that game. And I think it showed. So right now, all the Bears players are like, they all woke up and they're like, he's gone, or whatever. They were probably there at the stadium or at the facility when it happened. But the Bears regime got respect back from their players. They now respect Poles and Warren and everybody else for firing him, because you know damn well those players were pissed off because they were standing there at the end of the game all like, the game's over. I even was shocked. I really was. I thought there was more time too, but I'm sitting at home. I'm not the head coach, and I'm not getting paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to pay attention to that. But the players were just as shocked as all us fans were like, what? It's over? I mean, seriously. So, you know, there's really no point in going over anymore. We know what happened. But today is a good day. The Bears, for the first time in their franchise, fired a quarterback during the season. Now, you don't want to get the habit of doing that, obviously. But the fact that they did it gives me more respect for them because I was losing it. Like I said, I've been a fan since 1975, and I have seen some coaches. And some dumbass coaches, but not the mistakes that FLUS made this year with not managing games. He was just really bad. I don't know. Is he that stupid? I don't get it. But again, I said weeks ago, he was playing not to lose, and I think that shows week in and week out. And, he acted like, I thought this guy was a disciplined dude, but the penalties this year, they were so much better last year on penalties, not this year, terrible, and it kicked him in the ass time and time again, and I've said it, penalties are going to ruin you, and when you're not a good team, penalties are even doubly hard, because you're not going forward, you keep going backwards, and then the play calls from the OC, as I've said, he's calling in 1st and 10, and now it's 1st and 20. Oh, so you got to go over to when we're way out of it, play calls, So, we still have some problems with the penalties and the sacks, but I don't believe the sacks are going to change much, unfortunately. But the penalties, they need discipline with that, and that starts top, first guy, and that was FLUS. So, but, yeah. We have 5 more games yet? Yes, we have to play Minnesota, Detroit, Green Bay, 49ers, and Seahawks are left. Next week is the 49ers. I think we could win that game because they're struggling and they're beat up. So let's see what happens, right, on that game. So, but the future looks bright. We don't have to worry about him anymore. The rest of the season, we'd like to see, because we could have beaten for sure Green Bay and Detroit yesterday. I thought we could beat Minnesota too, but for sure Green Bay and Detroit, because we know what happened in both of those games. It came down to the last play, and we were in it, and we should have. So maybe we'll rack up a couple more wins. I would like to, and I don't want people, but then we don't get a good draft pick. Fuck the draft pick. We want some wins. What I want is the Bears to start winning, and then when the season's over, you use that to go on to the next season as a positive, like you're moving forward. That's what happened last season, and that's really the reason they kept FLUS, is because he won the last, how many games? I can't remember. I don't know, the last 5 games or something like that. But that's why they kept him, because they started winning, right? And then they thought if they gave him a number 1 pick quarterback, that's all they needed. But that was not the case, because polls let the team and the fans and the organization down by not, number 1, working on that offensive line. That has got to be the priority this year. It should have been the priority last year, but that's why they kept FLUS. But so if we can get some wins under our belt in the next 5 games, I think it will really help their confidence moving forward. And then we got to work on getting a head coach. And there's so many opinions on what people want. I'm old, so I'm old school. There's no doubt about it. I didn't even like the 2-point conversion yesterday. I would have kicked the field of the extra point. Didn't matter either way, because it was still 20-23. So, and if they had gotten the 2-point conversion, clearly, well, it wouldn't have mattered, because it would have been 21-23. Right? So, but let's just hope. Well, the thing is, it's a relief, because you knew going into each game, what's he going to do this week to screw it up? And he continued to do it since Washington. I mean, the wheels fell off. And I'll say it was Washington, that game, that caused all of it. And but it is what it is. But let's pray now that after the season, the Bears hire. And my point was, I want a coach that's been a head coach before. I want an experienced head guy who's been a head coach. I don't want these young guys that have never been head coaches. I don't want them to learn their chops on the Bears and then go somewhere else, learn and then get better and leave and go somewhere else. And that's the other thing for firing FLUS. You want players that want to stay with the Bears. You don't want to lose any of these good guys we've got. And you want other players to want to come to the Bears in the draft. In the off season. And it's not always money about players wanting to come. It's about the opportunity to win in the playoffs and go to a Super Bowl. So you want it so players know that the Bears are serious about wanting to win. And I think they made that statement today, and it's been a long time since we've seen the Chicago Bears make such a statement. So I'm thinking and hoping that this is only going to get better, and in 2025, I can't even believe I'm saying that, but I think we're going to be there because we've got our quarterback. The running game's a problem too for me. And I am not a Swift fan. I liked a couple. I haven't been since the season started. Poles really fucked up when he let David Montgomery go. Look what he's doing in Detroit. Now, I know he's running with Gibbs, but he's still getting close to 100 yards a game, Montgomery. Should have kept him. He didn't. So Poles has let me down many times, not addressing the offensive line, the running game. So I feel the running game's a problem. I don't like Swift. I don't think he's the answer. I like Johnson, but we need a nice running back to complement Johnson, the two of them. Like they do in Detroit. Gibbs is younger, and he's more of a Swift, not a Swift. I can't even think, but he gets they both get good yards, but Montgomery can move a pile and still get yards, and Gibbs is just fast and he gets through the holes. But they have a good 1-2 punch, and that's what the Bears need again in the running game, and they don't have it. So that's a big need next year too. But we're not going to talk about that. So we lost. We're 4-8. I wanted a 500 season. I thought we were going to get that. Clearly, that's not going to happen. So, but we've got to be happy right now because he is gone. Yes. And I didn't have to be, because today I was going to come on and blow a gasket. But I didn't have to. I know one of my son's friends after the game texted my son and said, I can't wait to see what Lynn has to say tomorrow. But I don't have to. So, I'm still mad about that loss. Do not get me wrong. But the fact that they fired him just makes everything better. So, we'll see what happens, right? I'm happy. There's no doubt about it. When I open my first beer today, I'm going to be like, yes. So, good for the Bears. They finally did the right thing. Hooray. Happy days are here again. Now we just got to go find a head coach, right? As I said, though, I want one of experience. Mike Grable is out there, and I like him. He's, he was a head coach, and he played for one of the best head coaches out there, whether you like him or not. And I don't like him, but Bill Belichick. So he learned a lot. I think he's being wasted. I think he should be a head coach somewhere again. Right now, he's a consultant for the Cleveland Browns. Cleveland Indians, Lynn, that's baseball. I tell you, my head is spinning. And when you're 66, that's hard, But good day. Okay. So we're 4-8. Could have won another one, but he's gone. The anchor around the Bears' ankles is gone. Been cut. Get out of town, put a for sale sign on your house. I wouldn't even have let him on the plane last night. I would have stood on the door when he came up the stairs and would have said, nah, you get your own ride. Right? You grab a lift. We'll see you in Chicago. But whatever. All right, enough is enough. So I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I had a good one, and, being with family's the best. And we were, we are thankful today, are we not? So thank you for watching, as always. You know what? You got a happy Lynn today because I was going to be screaming and yelling, which most people like that more than this, but I'm glad because I really didn't need to get my blood pressure up. I really don't need to. So thank you again. Please tell everybody to watch me. Now, listen, I am so appreciative from Greg, from Shigo, for calling me out weeks ago because I've got so many more subscribers. And, for somebody like me who just started this 5 years ago, 5 seasons, I know. Because, it was COVID, I was alone, and I love talking about the Bears. I love the Bears, and we'll always love them. When I die, I'm going to be buried in a Bears jersey. I've got 10 of them. I'll have 11 because I'm going to be getting caves soon. So I don't know what jersey to be buried in, but what am I talking about that for? I don't know. I'm still here! Anyways, I do appreciate you guys watching me. I really do. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You really don't know how cool it feels. And I love y'all. Be kind. Love one another. It's the holiday season, and everybody's in a much better mood. Why can't we do this mood 12 months a year all the time and treat people with respect and kindness that we all deserve? And you know what? There's really good people out there. And let's just show it 12 months out of the year, not just one. Please, for me. And Bears fans, we're happy today. We got to stick together to get through the rest of the season, but the future is looking bright. He's gone. Yeah. And I will see you guys a week from today, next Friday. I will preview the San Francisco game. We'll talk about that. So we're going to have a mini bye. Hopefully it will help some of the Bears who are banged up get a little rest, get their heads on clear. Thomas Brown, he's got a head coaching hat on now. Hopefully he gets ready for it. I don't think it could be any worse. I just don't. So, and look what Thomas Brown has done with Cabe these last 3 weeks. We've seen massive improvement, and he's only going to get better. Next year, he's going to learn. He's going to learn not to take the sacks. He's going to learn to do this. He's going to learn to do that. So the future is bright, people. Okay, so I got to stop talking. I already did my sign-off for the show, and I'm still talking. I'm excited. All right, thank you. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you next Friday. Tell everybody to turn me on. And on that note, keep on rocking and rolling from Vegas, baby.